Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode. No, god damn it, let me restart that. Because this won't be the first episode. This will be episode 4.
Keep the mistake in.
Hey, blooper, get on the Patreon. Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of the Horror Bin Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Fernandez. With me today, a very special guest, very good friend of mine, hilarious comedian, absolutely phenomenal roast battler. And you might know her from the Horror Virgin podcast, the Cult podcast. What was the third one?
Romancing the pod.
Romancing
Yeah.
the Pod. You already hear her voice. It's Paige Wesley.
Hi. Hey. Hello.
Paige, thank you so much for being on the show. For digging into the horror bin today.
I'm so excited. And I couldn't believe that, like, when you asked me to do this, you're like, what movies? And I listed off like 4 and you're like, they already chose them.
You had like yeah, you had a good. Let me see. I still have the text. Let me. Because you gave me like so many. I'm like, that's a good one. That's also a good one. We could do that. Why not? Okay. And
I'm just trying to live vicariously because, like, I joined Horror Virgin after they already did Jennifer's Body, and I love Jennifer's Body. And every other horror show, I'm like, can I do Jennifer's Body? They're like, oh, we already did it. Somebody already took it, and I'm just like, oh,
somebody already
someday.
claimed it. But yeah, this is because I had told you movie or TV show. I don't think we're ready to do TV shows just yet. I got to figure that out because you threw out. How do you feel about True Blood?
Yeah, because I could talk about True Blood for hours.
Which, right idea. Like, it has vampires, has werewolves,
of course,
fairies.
Very bloody. Were-panthers in the worst seasons.
So I got to figure out how to properly do TV shows. But that was your first one. Then you started saying, what did you say? I'll read it verbatim. Let me think about it for a bit. I feel like I talk about aliens and The Thing all the time. Yeah. Maybe Evil Dead. And then immediately, or Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
I do love Nightmare on Elm Street 2. A bird just explodes in the middle of the movie.
The next thing you text me, a bird explodes in all caps.
It's the number one thing I tell people about that movie. Not the fact that it's absolutely an allegory for coming out of the closet or anything like that. I'm like, no. A bird just fucking explodes. And there's no other like rationale to it. No one explains it. A bird just full explodes.
What also cracked me up too was you sent me in all caps, a bird explodes. And then immediately in all caps, you text me, nope.
The movie. I meant the movie.
It took me a minute to be like, you talking about the movie, or is she
or
discrediting
just kidding.
her?
There's no bird exploding.
And then you said Jennifer's Body, and then you recommended the one we were doing today. We're pulling. I feel like this one's a deep pool. Not an obscure one, but a deep pool. We are doing today Return of the Living Dead.
Yes.
Movie that was released in 1985, directed by Dan O'Bannon. Yeah, that's how you say his last name. And then written has 3 different writers. Rudy, I'm gonna butcher some names. Rudy Ricky, John A. Russo, and Russell Streiner. I'm not saying, yeah. A lot of R's. There's like 4 R's in all those names. Also starring these are like such 80s names.
Oh yeah.
Clue
Gulager. Yeah.
Gulager.
Yeah.
It's one of those names.
Famous.
Right? Yeah. James Karen, Don Calfa, and Beverly Randolph starring in this film. This is the description. Like I said, it was only, like I told you earlier, it's only one sentence.
One sentence.
For those that are unfamiliar with the Return of the Living Dead
series, it is a franchise.
It is a franchise, but this is the first one out the gate for it. And the description is thus: when 2 bumbling employees at a medical supply warehouse accidentally release a deadly gas into the air, the vapors cause the dead to rise again as zombies.
Yep, that is what happens in the movie.
Classic. It definitely like just oozes 80s cheese all over the place.
Yeah.
I guess first off, like, what made you want to do what made you want to do this movie?
So we did this on Horror Virgin probably almost 2 years ago at this point. And Mikey, my co-host, chose it at the time, and I had never seen it. And I love zombies. I've seen most zombie movies, and I had not seen this one. And I was like, what do you mean Return of the... And we watched it, and I was like, oh, thank you for bringing this film into my life. Because it is an 80s horror comedy, right? It is gory, there's a lot of body horror, but it is done well. Like, this doesn't feel like it was done on a shoestring budget. It's just weird. And it has some of the craziest like ending subplots. There's a whole section where they just dance naked in a graveyard, and you're like,
that's great.
Works.
Ziggy Stardust just gets naked immediately, and then first off, good for her, great body.
Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah, it is a very weird thing. And then you have one guy going, yeah.
Well, I love, because it is Linnea Quigley, Scream Queen of Note, nude dancing, but also not nude, because she wasn't allowed to be nude. So they made her wear like a prosthetic over her crotch. So that she could like appear nude without actually being nude. And according to her, she was willing to do it nude. She was like, I'll go. Why not? And she has been nude so many times, so many horror movies. Night of the Demons is another one we could have done that she is in, and crazy dancing around nude. But apparently there were like laws around where they were filming that required them to use the prosthetic. But I love that those characters are named Trash and Suicide. Right. And that like those are their name. Like, they're just like, come on, Trash, have a little fun. And you're like, what is happening?
And there is a part where she is all over Suicide, which is all hilarious. That is the character's name.
Yes.
And this guy is head to toe, like if you took
chains, leather, safety pins.
Chains, leather. He says at one point, this is a lifestyle. You think this is a costume? And Paige, I kid you not, as I'm watching it, I audibly go, yeah.
My culture is not a costume. He's so depressed. And like, I feel bad saying that, because like, but like, she is all over him, and he's just like, oh, whatever. Sometimes I want to cry. You're just like, man, he has like, so many feelings.
Like, I'm queer, but I'm sitting there like, get over it, pussy.
Oh, yeah. It's wild.
As soon as that group just pops up, you immediately feel like you're in a completely different movie. Almost.
Absolutely. And I remember when we covered it, the comment I made is that the group that is in that car, like the group traveling together in this movie, feels like they're in 4 different movies.
Yes.
Like, they shouldn't be friends. Why are they all together?
You got one guy who should be you got one guy who should be in 16 Candles. You got a girl who should be Saved by the Bell.
Right.
You got the 2 guys from the opening of Terminator with Paxton. You've got
the guy who dies because in Friday the 13th, I think it's 5, because he has diarrhea from enchiladas.
Oh, I gotta rewatch that.
Yeah, where it's the couple that's in the van, and he like leaves to go to the bathroom and gets killed in the bathroom. Yeah.
I think there's a plan further down the line. If ever I get a chance to do a live show or just have multiple people on, like we did, we got you and I, well, mostly you, got to do a live show for your Horror Virgin podcast. I was lucky enough to be on it. So much fun with the games and everything. It just gave me so many ideas to start. I mean, there's only episode 4 for me. And I'm already like, oh, what am I going to do for my live show when that happens?
We're going to dance naked in a graveyard. Get your tickets now. Hollywood Forever Cemetery, October 31st, 2027.
Yeah. You heard it here first, guys. We're already planning it. Yeah, this the timing on everything in this movie, as weird as it is, as weird as some of the writing is, some of the dialogue is, some of the visuals are, the timing is just perfect with everything. I mean, just right out the gate, when they're checking on the barrels with the zombies in it, the line is literally, these barrels don't leak. Bang, leak immediately. Not only leak, let's just spray right in your face. And I had even written down that after the first 2 dead victims, we start the opening credits, and then they get up, and I'm like, oh, I guess they didn't die.
Yeah, no, they live.
Yeah, kind of.
They die later, but yeah. We spend the whole movie of them being like, I'm so cold.
Like you were saying, like some of the effects and everything was like very much body horror.
Yes.
The one part I was just like, we could have done without that is the dogs that were
The
split in half.
dog. I was like, you were like, we could have done with that. And I was like, it's the split dog, isn't it? Yeah.
I didn't need no split dogs. You could have just had that yellow man run out of the freezer, and I would have been fine with that.
My favorite is like they set up the split dog literally right before, because they like walk through the warehouse and it's like, we got all of your medical stuff. We got like brains, we got split dogs, we got cadavers. Anyway, it'd be a shame if any of these came to life. Oh no. Like, and then you've got the split dog on the ground like immediately.
Have you ever had a job where you have somebody who's like they're training you or showing you around and are like, I mean, like towards the end, I really do, I feel for Frank when
oh yeah,
when he puts himself in the furnace, but like at the beginning I'm like, oh, like it just reminds me of every manager or supervisor I've had who's just like, we do things a little differently around here. This is where you'll find this. Oh, don't be careful. Start making jokes, and I'm sitting here like, just tell me what to just what do I do?
Just tell me what to do. The job I have now, my boss actually literally is leaving the company like as we're recording this, and it's making me very sad because he was dope. But when I came in for my final interview, they gave me a tour of the office, and they were like, we do things a little differently around here. We dress super casual, even though it's an office, which is true. Everyone was in like, like yoga pants and whatever. And they're like, here's the beer fridge. We just ask that you don't drink before 4 p.m. And then here's the yoga room. And I was like, what is this place?
Yeah.
We've had kombucha on tap ever since. Yeah.
Kombucha on tap. All right.
And then one day we had kombucha on tap and beer on tap. And then one day they accidentally switched the lines.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Some hippie people got a little tipsy.
Yeah, we had some real big picture ideas before 11 a.m. that day.
Oh man. What's also really funny is like the group's motivation at the beginning of the entire movie is very funny too, because it's clear that they just want to party.
They just want to party. They just want to hang out. They want to use their Hot Topic clothes in a graveyard.
It's not a costume, Paige. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. Yeah.
And what I mean, I get it. You got to have the creepy factor for graveyards and everything, but
of course,
graveyard and I've stayed at a hotel right next to a graveyard. I've seen plenty of graveyards. Not
yes,
seeking them out, but like in passing.
Sure.
Not once I've ever come across one that looks abandoned. Like
this does look abandoned. Yeah.
Every movie, it's just like, oh, the gate, the entrance gate is just covered in vines. It's dilapidated. It's all graffiti everywhere.
No one's been here since they filmed Thriller. Yeah.
I have like and I get it. Aesthetic wise, you want a creepy graveyard,
of course.
I've never who's
letting one go into that disrepair.
Yeah, and who's still like, oh, let's bury Uncle Phil over at at the discount graveyard.
Over at Big Al's definitely abandoned graveyard. Yeah. The one in True Blood is kind of like that too, but it's also like swamp adjacent. But they have so many funerals in that graveyard, and then it also looks completely dilapidated. Yeah. So, movie magic.
And like you were saying, also a lot of the effects and everything. Like I mean, it's very much an 80s film.
It's campy for sure.
Style, the campness, even the effects and the gore. It's all very campy 80s horror. But I will say, like the zombie that comes out of the tube, probably one of the like the best, not only one of the best reveals.
Yes.
But also like just the makeup,
it's Doug Jones before Doug Jones, basically.
It's amazing.
It's crazy good.
And then you get to all the other ones, and it's kind of like, oh, okay. They painted some faces.
My favorite thing is the zombies in this one can talk, right? And so they like call for backup on the radio of like,
oh my God,
send
yeah.
more cops so they can eat more cops.
The comedy of 5 cop cars showing up, all of them getting out at the same time, and then immediately just zombies just rush them.
Eaten. Yes.
I could watch that happen for an hour. Like just people showing up being like, what's going on here? Zombies!
Oh no.
It's like,
it's
oh,
great.
we need backup. And then more people
send more paramedics. Yeah.
Oh, we're the army. Whoa! Like just the like it happens like 3 times. Like
it's funny every time. You wouldn't think so, but it is hilarious every time.
Like people just like when people get caught off guard by like something charging at them, it is a funny visual. And when it's it's literally like, oh, what's going on here? Brains. But I'm glad you brought up that the zombies talk in this one, because I was one of the things I was I as well, I love a good zombie movie. My opinion though on intelligent zombies is I am not in favor of them.
You're not a fan. This is one of the few where I am, because I don't like it when Bub learns to speak in the Dawn of the Dead franchise, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
These ones, like, I mean, you get I think this is one of the first times you ever hear the motivation that zombies want brains.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I don't think before that there was ever really established like, oh, zombies eat brains. It was just more zombies eat you, or zombies bite you, or blah blah blah.
Then it became brains.
You. Yeah, then it became brains. Then I think later down the line it became that they're just gonna eat you no matter what, or until they find something different later. But yeah, like I'm not like when they have a whole conversation with like pretty much a skeleton, like practically
with a half torso on a table, and she's like, I'm in pain, and you're like, this took an A24 turn.
Making full sentences without articulating the mouth whatsoever.
Yeah, no, not at all.
All it is like what should be coming out is what's coming out is, we want your brains to eat. How you doing that without lips? That's amazing. Good for you.
Good for you. Well, and I do love that though, because like it doesn't look like weird and kitschy and campy now. Yes, at the time, did that probably look crazy? Like where they were like, "What are animatronic? Oh my god!" I think so. Like because this is the early '80s, so like not much had been like that out in movies, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely like we've been saying, it's an 80s campy. You're not expecting, we're not expecting Dawn of the Dead or the Walking Dead level type of zombies,
or 28 days later,
or 28 or 20 weeks. Still went on 28 months. Come on, guys, make it. Come on, Cillian Murphy, you got awards.
What? Do you have anything better to do?
Yeah. What are you doing? Just being on a successful Peaky Blinders show
and being in like probably an Oscar nominated film, like whatever.
But yeah, I would. But in all seriousness, I would love to see it 28 months later. I love that franchise. And like I was saying earlier, I'm like reading off my list of notes that I have here. Everything's like all chaotic right now. But
like the movie is very chaotic.
The movie is very chaotic. There's a lot of like obvious ADR lines that come up, which
so much.
As someone who is from the voiceover world, someone who has done ADR work, it is so funny to see, because it's there's somebody, I think Ernie at one point delivers a line to 2 people in an angry tone, just like, you gotta just go do it, or something like that. And then turns around, and it's clearly an ADR thing. Then turns around to the girl and is just like, everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that line he said on camera, that other line did not match. That was odd.
One of the two. One of them is the one. Yeah.
A lot of ADR, a lot of just odd lines in general.
Yes.
I'll say the editing itself is kind of chaotic at times.
Yeah.
There's a part there's a part they're gonna run to the cop car to try to drive away, and one guy says, "I'll drive." No, I'll drive. Fuck you. And then no follow up, and it's just like, all right, this is the plan.
just like me after a night at the bar. I'll drive. Fuck you. Yeah.
But I love it. What would you say is, I mean, in an ideal situation, what would be your preferential zombie type? Are you for maybe zombies that have some intelligence, some that they're just mindless, runners, walkers, joggers, skippers,
bursters?
Coming for you.
Now here's my question: do you mean to watch or to survive?
You know what? Let's do both.
Okay.
Let's start with watch. Like if you're watching a movie, what type of zombies are freaking you out more?
Korean ones. That is the best. Korea is making
not
the
movie
best...
Koreans, just Korean zombies are gonna scare
zombies.
Paige.
Korea is making the best zombie movies in the game right now. Like, and they're so inventive with them. Like Train to Busan is so amazing.
We already have that one. We have that one scheduled.
Good. I don't know if you have I'm Alive scheduled, but also fucking great, where a guy gets trapped in his apartment.
And he's like a streamer, right?
Yes. And he like sees a girl across the way who's trapped in her apartment, and they like work together to try and get to the roof of one of the apartment complexes. So good. They're doing it so well. So I think for like, as far as watching a movie, if I want it to be truly scary, I think fast zombies are scarier.
Yeah.
Because I can't outrun them. I think this is a personal fear where I'm like, the list of people I can outrun, very short.
You're hunkering down wherever you're at. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if I'm trying to survive this, my best chance is slow zombies where I have time to plan and fortify, essentially.
Yeah.
Fast is scary. Then you've got like Last of Us zombies that are like almost not even really human, but they're kind of everywhere, but they're maybe not so fast, but they're still dangerous. Those are also scary to watch. I feel like zombie movies come in like 3 different categories. One, goofy, like this. Obviously, this is definitely a comedy. Shaun of the Dead falls in this. Yeah. And even some of the old, like, I find Dawn of the Dead pretty funny.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's
when they're in a mall.
Yeah, there's definitely like that heavy commentary aspect in the original Dawn of the Dead. I'd even say in Zack Snyder's remake too.
Sure.
It's more so on the horror side than the original.
Yeah, although they do have a zombie baby, and that's hilarious, both when they did it in that one, but also when they did it in Dead Alive. Then in the middle, you've got the like sad zombie movies where it's like maybe not as scary, but it's more about the loneliness and desperation of being at the end of the world, and the question of, even if zombies are out there, man is the most dangerous animal, essentially. That's your Last of Us, that's your Walking Dead. And then finally, you've got basically your Train to Busan, your 28 Days Later, where it's like, you better fucking run, fucker. Yeah. Like, they will catch you.
Yeah. I will say also, like, the transformations in for faster zombies always seems to be more on the grotesque side.
Yes.
Where you see like the limbs moving erratically, you hear the snapping, you hear the creaking, the all that. And when it comes to like slower zombies, like, I mean, you do have that time. I mean, it takes forever for Frank and Freddy to turn. You know, they don't turn until maybe like the last third.
Yeah.
And like I said, when Frank puts the saddest part of the whole thing is when Frank puts himself in the furnace. What's unfortunate is it goes by so quick. You don't really have enough time to really like settle into like how upsetting it is.
Yeah, well, and you're also dealing with Tommy Jarvis turning and then going after his girlfriend, which he is Tommy Jarvis, I think, only in Friday the 13th 6, but yeah. And he did that like 1 year apart from this. But
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it's that falls in that middle category of like the desperation and desolation of living in a zombie infested world. And this movie glosses right over it because they know how it's going to end. They're just like, oh yeah, that furnace is going to seem tame compared to when we nuke it from orbit.
The government's plan for every zombie attack is just nuke the city.
Just nuke it from orbit. That's the only way to be sure.
And in no film has that ever worked in any scenario. No matter how many nukes you have, no matter how many cities you nuke, somehow it does not solve the problem.
Yeah. Speaking of nuked cities and zombie adjacent movies, how do you feel about The Crazies?
I love The Crazies. I don't categorize it as a zombie movie, but I would say it's in that realm. And I would also say even the 28 Days franchise, the 28 Days franchise, I would say I wouldn't categorize either as a zombie movie, just because it doesn't fall into that realm of that they're dead. It's
right. They're just infected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think with 28 Days, like that's where we started making that shift from just calling them what they are, which is zombies. And no, we're gonna call them the infected. We're gonna call them clickers. We're gonna call them the walkers. We're gonna call them snappers. We're gonna call them fucking jazz singers. I don't know.
Yeah, Koreans. No, sorry. That's terrible.
There's a horde of Koreans coming.
That is true in Train of Busan. It's just that everyone is also Korean.
Yeah.
But the thing I like about that to a degree is that when they're not dead, there's a question of A, can you cure them? And B, I think there's a little more time sometimes for people to figure out ways to outsmart them or survive them. Right. And that I think is kind of interesting, even though it almost never pans out. Like you almost never actually get a cure or anything like that.
No, yeah. I don't think has there ever, other than World War Z maybe, but I mean that movie. But I don't think there's ever really been a zombie movie where they actually get a cure.
There is The Girl with All the Gifts, where they have like really a topical cure, but it's not permanent, right? It just allows you to live among them.
Well, yeah. I'm saying more so like by the end of the movie, like they're like even if there's a discussion or the plot is that they're trying to make a cure, it never happens. It always seems like the cure is like you can go into a zombie movie and if someone brings up the idea of a cure, you can confidently be like, they ain't gonna make it. They ain't gonna make it. They ain't gonna make that cure.
I will say there is, I don't know if you've ever seen some of the alternate ending of 28 Days Later that was storyboarded but doesn't end up in the film. That has the potential for maybe a cure that then would bear out in sequels, but they ultimately went a different direction. But yeah, I think it's funny that we always discuss one and then there never is one.
Yeah, they're never. It does, like a lot of zombie movies do follow that formula of it's rare that you ever get a zombie movie that's like, let's focus in on one singular person.
Right.
It basically has to be an ensemble piece. You need to be invested in most of this group, and you need just so you know that there's going to be fodder for the horde and everything.
Right.
And this one definitely kind of lumps into that category. You got the big old 80s group, you got the doctors, you got Freddy. I'll try to get through this. And then just the chain reactions of everything happening, where it's the gas is released from the barrel, then the corpse in the freezer comes alive. They chop up that corpse and they got to burn it. That burning goes smoke in the air. Now it's raining. Now more zombies. Then they nuke the city. Then that goes up in the air. That rains.
Right.
Uh-oh, we got sequels coming our way.
It's a self-perpetuating problem.
Yeah, it feels, it definitely, I mean, the way the movie wraps up, I mean, it definitely wraps up being like, oh, we're going to have sequels. We're milking this.
Definitely sequels. Yeah.
I mean, just with the phone call, all the phone calls, by the way, are hilarious too.
So funny.
Frank, his first call, Bert, we got a bit of a problem. Could you come on down? Thanks, Bert. Click. Hey, Bert. I love a good like quick transition from one extreme to like a very casual, calm
I love it too when they call the government. Anytime they call the government, it's like mayhem, chaos, and then they're just like, "Hello, General," and he's just like having tea with his wife. He's like, "Really? In the middle of dinner? All right."
Yeah. And poor Ethel.
Poor Ethel.
She just wants to.
She worked all day on that roast.
Yeah, and then here comes military husband. I don't got time for that.
Okay, I don't got time for that. I got to nuke a bunch of civilians.
I mean, overall, Paige, like, what would you? I mean, you picked this movie. I'm sure you'd recommend it to anybody. But
absolutely.
On in terms of the horror scale of things, how would you rate this in terms of how scary it is to how enjoyable it is?
I would say it's extremely enjoyable, but it's not very scary.
I'd also concur with that. If we had to put numbers to it, definitely a 5 out of 5 in terms of enjoyment. A 3 out of 5 in terms of anything scary. The scariest part is when the first ambulance crew gets attacked and they turn on that headlights and they're just in front. That part, I was like, oh shit.
This got scary for a second. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. 80s fear.
80s fear. But yeah, I think I'd probably give this a 1 out of 5 for scares, but love it.
Yeah. You know what? That's fair. I'll drop it down to a 2. I don't want to say 1. One is for I want to save my ones for some other ones.
For Ghostbusters, got it.
For Ghostbusters, 1 out of 5 for sure. But definitely a 2 out of 5. I would agree with that. Well, Paige, I mean, I thank you so much for recommending this movie. It was also my first time ever like fully watching it. I'd always seen clips. I'd always known a lot about it. Did not know the full extent how much
you didn't know about the split dogs.
Didn't know about the split dogs. Didn't know about the split dogs. Didn't know about the 80s. Didn't know that those weren't costumes. They were lifestyles. But
now you do.
I'm so happy we dug into the bin and we got this movie out. Is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to let people know where you're at or what you're doing?
Hey, I mean, just first of all, thanks for having me. Had a blast. You can listen to me on Horror Version and Romancing the Pod and Cult Podcast. And then if you want to see me live, I post all of my show information on Instagram is where I put most of it. And that's at Paige Wesley on Instagram.
Hell yeah. And you can find me at Julian F. Comedy. You'll also be able to find our show on Instagram as well. But again, Paige, thank you so much for bringing this movie. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you guys for listening. And we'll be back to dip into the bin very soon. Bye, guys.